Purdue is just one win away from advancing to the Elite Eight for the second time in the last 3 seasons. Taking on an 11-seed Texas team, the only double-digit seed left, looking to go from the first 4 to the Elite Eight. Early first half, we take you Oscar Clough. Lays no good, but gets the board, kicks it out to Fletcher Lawyer. The three's money. Purdue up 6, 3 minutes left in the first half. Purdue working the ball to Lawyer. Lawyer, another one. Boilers up 5. Purdue was just 3 for 12 from deep in the first half, and each make was from that man. Well, next Purdue possession, pass to Lawyer, drives, gets the off-balance fadeaway to fall, led the way with 13 points in the first half. Purdue up 4 at the half, 35-3 when leading by 4 more points at a half in tournament history. Just saying. Early second half now. Tremont Mark drives, stops on a dime, drains the J. He had 19 points, up to 19 at that point. A couple minutes later, Mark tosses up a 3, misses, and he's undercut by Lawyer in some pain. Scary moment. He was hobbling at the end of the possession. Trainers had him jump on his right leg and ankle to test it out. They retaped his ankle, and he'd come back in the game. So now 10 to play. Dalen Swain drives, pass to Mark in the corner. Ankle looked good. Texas up 1, but Mark still feeling the pain, up to a season-high 24 points at this point. Minute later, Clough misses the leg, gets the board, kicks it out to Lawyer. Again, another one. Purdue up 2. The lead changes for the 14th time of the game. 5 to go. Hand off to Mark, and 1 dribble. Drains a contested 3. Texas back up 4. Hobbled Tremont Mark had 29 points, most in a tournament game by a Longhorn since Kevin Durant back in 2007. 3 minutes left in regulation. We're tied at 7. CJ Cox drives, past the Clough, spins, drops it in. Now under a minute left. Braden Smith to the rim. Banks in the contested lay. The Boilers now up 3. So now under 20 seconds to go, Longhorns, they're still down 3. 17 seconds left. Pay attention. Swain drives, gets the contested lay to fall, draws the foul. You can't foul there. Swain made the free throw to tie it at 77. All the emotions. Hey, Steve Sarkisian, what's up? 7 seconds left. Smith drives, misses the leg, but Trey Kaufman-Renn there for the putback. Purdue up 2 with less than a second to go. Ensuing Texas possession. Can't get it done. Jordan Pope, last chance heave. It's no good. Heartbreaker, but not for those boys. Purdue, they go on to win at 79-77. Purdue advancing to the Elite Eight for the second time in the last 3 seasons. The last time in 2024, if you recall, that's when they reached the title game, now making their 7th Elite Eight appearance in school history, 3rd under Matt Painter. It was a brutal blow for Tremont Mark, who had a game-high 29 points, but it's the Boilers who are moving on to the Elite Eight. But speaking of, here's Allie LaForce with the hero of the game. Here's Trey Kaufman-Renn postgame.
When did you know, especially as your team was talking about those final seconds, that Smith would go in for the layup again, and how did you get yourself in position for the tip-in?
No, that's what we drew up, and we have just so much experience with these guys, and that's what Sasha said. It's winning time. It's winning time, and so, it's our job to make big plays and big moments.
Speaking of experience, this is one of the most experienced teams in the NCAA tournament. How did that experience calm you guys in the biggest moments?
Yeah, I didn't feel like we had any nerves, We kept, being level-headed. It's a really good team we just played, stuck to our game plan and pulled it out.
Well, listen, every single game matters, and every single game is bigger than the one before it. Why can this team be different and go all the way?
Because we deserve it. We deserve it. Our team is putting so much work. These guys love each other. And, like I said, we put in a lot of work.
You certainly have all the confidence you need. Congratulations, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Yep, thank you.
Trey Kaufman-Renn said it. He said it's winning time. You make big plays at big moments, and he most certainly made one of the biggest plays of the game. Take a look at players to have 20 or more points and the game-winning field goal in the final 5 seconds in the Sweet 16 or later. Trey Kaufman-Renn, the latest to do it since, if you recall, last year, Milos Uzan doing it against, in that Sweet 16 matchup. But nonetheless, Kaufman-Renn, the latest game-winning field goal in a Purdue tournament game in tournament history. 0.7 seconds left. Listen, you make big plays at big moments. Trey Kaufman-Renn, the latest to do so. And we have our first team who's punched their ticket to the Elite Eight, as we're joined by former NBA Coach of the Year, Avery Johnson, and CBS Sports Director of Basketball Scouting, Adam Finkelstein. Is Purdue, fellas, They're going to keep on dancing. And, guys, we were chatting during this game. We were talking about that final series there when we saw Dalen Swain, who was fouled under the basket. Oscar Aclef, I know you guys were upset about that foul. And then on the other end, we saw Braden Smith. You guys were saying that's a shot that he typically makes. You guys were good with that, but you got Trey Kaufman-Renn there for the putback that ultimately sealed this game for Purdue. But, Adam, your thoughts just on this final series that we watched unfold?
I think I could summarize it with, what are you doing? You missed it? He fouled him. Oh, good tip.
Right.
That was my basic summary. I couldn't believe they fouled him down when they were up 3, and Purdue committed that foul to give them the potential game-tying three-point play that is inconceivable for a team that is normally exceptionally well coached. And then on the opposite end, Purdue, to their credit, shakes it off quickly, draws up that play. They ghost the screen, get Braden Smith downhill for a shot that I think he makes 75% of the time. I was shocked he missed it. And then, Coach, you called it. Trey Kaufman-Renn, he fouls him.
Little chicken wing right there.
You're not going to make that call, though, and he gets the tip in because of it.
Yeah. And we talked about Braden Smith. What were my goals for this game for Braden Smith? 16 points.
Yeah.
10 assists and 2 turnovers. He had 16 points, 5 assists, and 2 turnovers. I thought he was masterful. And even though he missed that shot, I would give him an extra assist on that missed shot. They used to do it for John Stockton, so who cares?
You know what it was, though, Coach, in all
Yeah.
seriousness?
Yeah.
It was close enough to the rim. He got it close enough that even though he missed it, it was a short rebound. If he takes a jumper, it's a long rebound, they don't get a tip in.
Absolutely.
I do want to ask you guys, because like I mentioned earlier, I felt like Texas had every opportunity to try to win this game. They did not make this easy for Purdue whatsoever. But, Coach, what do you think ultimately decided this game in Purdue's favor when you're looking at the stats, you're looking at the performance?
Trayvon Mark was outstanding.
Yeah.
He had 29 points. I think he could have exceeded that point total had he not hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
This guy was on fire. And he was headed towards a 35, 40 potentially point night. And then defensively, he suffered because he was the guy on Smith, and also with some of the switches that they were successful with during certain parts of the game. So I feel bad for him because he's 11 for 15. You know, he got injured at the 16-20 mark in the second half. He stayed in the game, shot his free throws, even though he missed 2 on the night. I just thought he could have had an even bigger night had he not gotten injured. But we got to congratulate this Texas Longhorn team. They've had an outstanding year. They were left for dead at the end of that SEC conference tournament. And to advance to the Sweet 16 in Sean Miller's first year at Texas, I would say this was a successful season.
Especially when you're considering this is a Texas team that was 1-5 in their 6 games leading into the tournament. It seems like they kind of turned things up a notch, and we saw them playing their best ball here.
Spot on. If their season had ended in the first 4, or quite frankly, if they didn't make the tournament, because let's be honest, they were on the bubble a week and a half ago.
Yeah.
If the season ended there, the narrative about Sean Miller's first season in Austin would be totally different than it is today. So they do what you can do in the NCAA tournament, and they completely flip the switch. They develop brand new momentum, and so now there's an energy level about this program going into year 2 of the Sean Miller era.
I do want to talk about the guys who did win this game, though. I mean, Purdue is a program, they've had some really tough tournament exits if we're looking at, times past. But how much more poised do they look in your eyes this time around?
I got to be honest. They almost blew it. Fouling in that situation, when you're up 3 and they're going for a 2, you let them finish that play. And then you make your free throws and the game's over. But they fouled him. And then Braden Smith has a potential game winner and he misses it. So I'm just going to say it plainly. They're going to need to be better to advance. Yeah. When you talk about the Elite 8, if they want to get to Indianapolis, Braden Smith, for as good as he is, he was still 6 of 16 from the floor. He was 0 of 3 from behind the three-point line, and he missed a shot he should have made. And listen, they won. They were great. All 5 starters in double figures going to the Elite 8. Happy for them, but they got to find another level.
I think they're still going to need some help off the bench. They only had 4 points off the bench. Yeah. That's not going to cut it because the deeper you move in the tournament, the harder it's going to get, right? and think about who's going to be potentially their next matchup. Arkansas or
Arizona.
Yeah. Right? So you're going to need some quality depth. I do like that they really didn't have an identity crisis. The pick and roll with Smith and Kaufman-Renn, man, it's money. He hits him in that pocket. Kaufman-Renn, what did he have? 20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds, the biggest one, the game winner. So I like that they played true to their identity, but at the same time, they made some mistakes that you wouldn't expect from a veteran team.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes me kind of sometimes question maybe what's their ceiling, because we talk about them now. You're entering the Elite Eight, but we talk about it's a matchup that's upcoming. You're looking at an Arizona team. You're looking at an Arkansas team. I think it draws some questions, especially when we're looking at lack of bench points, maybe some of these mistakes that they could clean up. But I do want to jump ahead to our signed, sealed, and delivered, presented by FedEx. Avery, who delivered big time tonight in your eyes?
I'm going with Trey Kaufman-Renn. He's the guy, because his offensive rebounds, especially the biggest one, the game-winning bucket, he was 4 for 4 from the free throw line, 8 for 10 from the field. He only had 1 turnover. I thought he was very competitive on the defensive end. You can look at Fletcher Lawyer, but he struggled on defense tonight, really struggled on defense. But I'm going with Trey Kaufman-Renn, even though I'm bypassing the little maestro Braden Smith.
I'll give Lawyer a shout out. Purdue made 4 threes the entire game, and Fletcher Lawyer made all 4 of them. And they couldn't buy a bucket early on. And again, this was the same story in the round of 32. When Braden Smith struggled, they needed shot making to bail him out. Lawyer bailed him out in that round. He made timely threes tonight. Not arguing about his foot speed. He's no Avery Johnson out there. He's not a ball hawk. But he can make threes, Coach.
Okay, well, I want to go back to just that point that I made right before we went into our game changer. But when you look at this Purdue team and maybe some of the question marks you guys do have, does that give you any hesitation, any trepidation as we're moving on to the Elite Eight?
I picked Arizona, and I think that Purdue's lack of depth is a concern, especially like if C.J. Cox hadn't been able to play. Because if somebody you're talking about winning 6 games in a row. What happens when somebody gets in foul trouble? What happens when somebody rolls an ankle? If you don't have depth, it's really hard to win 6 games in a row, and that's what it takes to win an NCAA tournament. The other thing that I worry a little bit about is the overall athleticism. If they play somebody who can stretch there, because they play those 2 bigs. You play somebody who can stretch those guys out, force them to guard away from the basket, I think that could be problematic.
Absolutely, and I think with Purdue, they're going to be going up against a team, if it is Arizona, because I picked Arizona. If Arizona wins this game, they're going to have much more depth on their team, size, and they have some guys that's really going to make Braden Smith play defense. That's a big thing. So whether it's Acuff or whether
Jaden
Bradley, that's a whole different deal now from dealing with these guards from Texas.
Yeah, we'll see how things unfold, but nonetheless, somebody will be making Braden Smith play defense, but we'll see how he rebounds and continues to build as Purdue. They're moving on to the Elite Eight. Texas's road to the national championship, that comes to an end. We'll download the March Madness Live app to stream every game live from your phone, tablet, computer, or your favorite streaming device.